St. Francis Xavier lived in the beginning of the 1500s. I think he was 46 when he died. He was born in Navarra, Spain, of a noble Basque family. In his early 20s, he went to Paris for his studies. He met up with St. Ignatius. The two of them became friends, and they were both part of forming the Jesuit order. He was ordained a priest in 1534, and he longed to go to the missions. He made a vow to go to the Holy Land, but the Turkish Muslims at the time had formed a blockade and he was not able to go to the Holy Land. So he went to Rome and he talked with the Pope, and a Portuguese bishop had just asked the Pope to send missionaries to India. So he asked Francis Xavier to go to India, which he gladly did. From there he traveled to Japan and to China, and spent all the rest of his years of his priesthood doing missionary work. It's said that he converted over 30,000 people to the Catholic faith. He writes in his writings that all day long there was hardly time to eat or to sleep because the children were coming asking him to teach them prayers. And he said, what a joy to be able to teach prayers and the Ten Commandments to children who were open to it. And then he wrote a letter to St. Ignatius at one point, who was still over in Europe, and he was decrying the fact that so many of his brother priests were there in the universities in Europe, and they were poring over their books, and they were studying the faith and theology and gaining all kinds of intellectual knowledge. And he said it's such a shame that they won't put those books down and come over here and teach the gospel to those who want to learn it. He was so upset with those who wouldn't take up that missionary spirit. Francis Xavier did what the scriptures tell us today, preaching the gospel, becoming a slave to all, going out to the whole world to proclaim the gospel to every creature was the command of Jesus the day that he ascended into heaven. And so Francis Xavier certainly took that up. You and I aren't called to go to a foreign land at this point to preach the gospel. I'm happy that I did have the chance to go to El Salvador to do that myself. But that was only for a short time. And it is our prayers for the missions, like St. Teresa of Little Flower, along with Francis Xavier, are patron saints of the missions. And Teresa never left her convent, but in her heart she prayed every single day for missionaries throughout the world and for people to be open to the gospel. And for that reason she was declared a patron saint of the worldwide missions. And so we have a role to pray for the missions, that they continue to spread the word of God. We support them every year in our annual collection for the missions throughout the world through the propagation of the faith. And that is our part, to pray for them. And certainly in our own time with this new evangelization, we're called to inspire those who have left the church especially to rethink and to come back. They've taken up with a philosophy of life that doesn't have room for faith in the church. And they've lost faith in a certain way. And yet they're longing inside for something greater and struggling to find out what that is. Hopefully in our own neighborhood they'll find it here at St. Patrick's and come back to practicing their faith. So with the intercession of St. Francis Xavier, we ask to have his spirit of zeal for bringing the gospel to other people. Let us stand and offer our prayers and petitions.